We'll do the intro later. First we need decals. I'm starting with the easy ones first, so this is cool, but it's not anywhere near as cool as the ones that are coming up. If you saw the machine at the end of the last video, it looked really good, but it didn't look great. These decals make it look great. Get ready for a heck of a transformation. So these decals were sent by a very kind viewer who also owns a printing company in Hartwell, Georgia. And of course, works by mail order, so if you are interested in any printing or decals, he even does laser cutting, check them out. It is C5 Signs Printing and Laser. He's donating these for free to the Marge cause. Don't just measure once, measure twice, or 3 times, or 4 times, or 5. The big challenge with decals is to not get air bubbles trapped underneath, and the best way to manage that is to start from the center and work your way out. Alright, that could actually work pretty well. These decals are at a disadvantage here because I'm putting them on a surface that's dinged up and not perfectly flat. Occasionally you can get a bubble in the decal itself. I think I ripped the plastic off too aggressively, but it's easy to fix. Just poke a little hole in it and then press it out. Now for these big decals on the boom, I needed my lift and a helper. We were trying to decide where on the boom to put it, and Dozer told us it looked the best here. This decal is like 8 feet long, so we cut it in half so that we only have to deal with half of it at a time. The wind is not helping. Thanks, wind. The wind blowing wasn't helping, and these were a little more difficult because it's such a big piece, and as you put it down you can't help but kind of maybe warp it a little bit. When you come around the letters, you tend to find it wants to wrinkle a little bit when you get to the opposite side. But little care, take your time. It came out really good in the end.
Reveal?
Wait, do that. The disappointment. Man, those decals look good. I'm amazed at how much different it looks. Wow. So we saved the best for last. This was the hardest decal to deal with because this surface isn't flat, it's curved. But it also really kind of puts the cherry on top here. What's it say? That looks awesome. I have to say, I did not realize what a huge difference these decals would make. And Jake made me some really nice decals. These are heavy duty vinyl. They went on well, and they're gonna last a long time. Look at that. That thing looks amazing. It looks so good. I almost feel like I should have done a real repair there. Almost. But not really. Hey there, welcome back to Farmcraft. I'm John, and you know darn well who that is. That's Large Marge. And man, I cannot believe how good those decals made her look. In this video, we're putting Marge back to work. I have a section of field that was cleared by a timber company, and they took away all the logs, and what they left is a bunch of stumps. And I want to return that section of woods back to field, so I need to get all those stumps out of there. Now obviously getting stumps out is easier if the tree is intact. You can just push the whole thing over, or if you leave a high stump. But these logs were for lumber. They wanted to harvest the wood, and timber companies aren't interested in trying to dig the stumps out. That just slows them down and gets in the way of their process. So I did get paid for the trees they clear, so you know that comes at a price. Now I got to deal with the stumps. But I think old Margie here is the one to do it. So we're going to go dig out some big stumps, and lots of them. Now one more thing I need to do before we do it is I need to grease this machine. But I want to show that to you guys because it's kind of funny. This machine is easier to grease than my Yanmar is, the little excavator. I can't stop looking at her. Look at that. The boom especially, because it's made out of heavy steel, it's not all dinged up. I mean, I think that's pretty close to what it looked like coming off the line 40 years ago. That's crazy. All right, so for greasing this thing, I mean, obviously that is way up in the air there. And I've got 2 lift cylinders. I need to grease both ends of those. I've got the arm cylinder up there. I need to grease both ends of those, 15 feet in the air. And I've got that joint there that needs grease. And the top of the bucket cylinder way up there needs grease. So on my Yanmar, I kind of have to move the boom around and climb on it, and it's kind of a pain. Here, except what is easily reachable from the ground has been put into grease hoses. So you've got 2 grease stations, actually 3. There's a bunch up there, we'll do those first. Then you've got the swing bearing. It actually has 4 grease points for the swing bearing, but one of them, the hose is broken. So I only grease 3. I greased that really well when I was working on the squeal of the swing bearing earlier. So it doesn't really need grease, but I'll grease the 3 that I can use. You know, it's just good practice whenever you grease to hit the swing bearing, and it'll be fine. And then there's another couple grease hoses that go up the arm down here, and then you just get the other ones from the ground. So let's grease this thing up real quick. Takes quite a bit of grease. So here's our first grease station here, and you can see it's coming down and getting these joints on the main boom, and then it's got, what is it, 1, 2, 3 hoses running up the boom. So that is going to do both of these cylinders, and then also the near side of the arm cylinder all gets done from here. Yeah, pretty easy. Now we're down underneath the boom. Let's get this side of these cylinders. And then we're going to get the swing bearing. So that's all done. And I've got 3 grease points there. That gets the top of that cylinder, the other side of the arm cylinder, and that joint up there. Pretty easy from here. I just do this, the grease zerk's right on top. There, and here, and there. This video is sponsored by Brunt. Brunt makes workwear for hardworking people, and they sent me these boots 6 weeks ago. These are the Omen boots, and I have been wearing them on a daily basis ever since. I just got caught in a rain shower just a little bit ago, so they're a little bit wet, but my feet are dry, so the water resistance definitely works. You know, there's some scuffs on the toe. That's from me kicking things, which I seem to do quite a lot. I'm pretty hard on boots, but there is no problems with the stitching. Everything really looks good. These boots are holding up very well, and I think they're going to last a real long time. And they were comfortable from day one. They're still comfortable. I really like them. Not just saying that, honest opinion. And I should mention, when I say I'm wearing the boots every day, that doesn't mean 9 to 5, 5 days a week. Farming is an everyday job. This is 7 days a week. I've worn these boots every single day for the last 6 weeks at least. I think it might have been a little bit longer. So use my code and get $10 off your first purchase. You can try their boots on the job site. Even if they get scuffed up, if you don't like them, send them back. I don't think you will though. I bet you'll like them like I do. Like I said before, I can be kind of picky about my footwear because I get a lot of foot pain. But these have definitely helped that. These are really comfortable boots for someone who's working really hard. Speaking of that, let's get back to work. So I have waited for this for a very long time. She is all ready to roll. Let's go get some work done. All right, here we are. So, this was all woods here, and it was kind of coming out at a funny angle here, and it came out into the field and then went back at a funny angle, and we just straightened out the line. So they took all of these trees, and now I'm going to make this back into field, just like that. Lots of stumps. They're everywhere. Even these little ones are probably going to take some time. So there's going to be many hours of stump pulling out here. And of course there's other ways to do this, but this is what I've got, and I think this is going to go just fine. It's just going to take some time. Unfortunately, they did leave some mess, so but I'll end up piling it all up and burning the stumps and everything anyway, so I think that'll be fine. So I am just going to start pulling and work my way in and stacking stumps, and we will get to work on this. Let's see how many stumps I can pull out in 30 minutes real time. Most of the video will be sped up, so it'll be a lot faster for you. So when I'm talking about small stumps, I'm talking about trees that are 6 to 12 inches across. Real trees, but not that big. And here goes 2 of them right there in one scoop. And then there's a third. So yeah, I mean, those are decent sized stumps that would fight my Yanmar, but this just rips them out of the ground. The big ones are all trees that are probably, 18 inches and up. There's some in here that are quite large, 24 inches across, 30 inches across. And now that I've got them out, I'm going to try to get as much dirt off of them as I can. So when you guys are watching this, to try to keep some perspective, remember this bucket is 48 inches wide. That's a sheet of plywood wide. That's 1.2 meters. So when you see the stumps looking small compared to the bucket, that's why. It definitely takes more time to get the dirt off of them and stack them up than it does to get them out of the ground. Now this next one's a big one. I didn't get out to measure the tree, but that's at least 24 inches across, and that's an oak. It took just over 2 minutes for me to get that stump loose. Marge is a beast.
That is a heavy stump.
And here's another big one. get the most force if you get down behind it and then use the bucket as a big lever. Then once it's loose, you can really pull it out. This one is tough. Let's do heavy lift. There you go. That's a big tree, or it was. Another stump in there. There it is. Here's another big one. It's at least 30 inches across where it meets the ground there. Marge is going to win again. All right, again, you probably need some perspective on how big these things are. I'm reaching over my head to touch the top of that stump. That's a big boy, and that whole pile is taller than me now. So that was about an hour of pretty hard labor for Marge. That hour includes tracking over to the site. I only pulled stumps for 30 minutes. And I see no leaks, no problems. The temperature was running well in the green. It was hardly even getting warm, really. This is a lot of area, but it won't take that long. It'll be one of those things where I'll come up here periodically and rip out stumps for an hour or two and then go do something else. That's a nice thing about, I've got so much to do, I don't have to do just one thing. Now, what are the chances that I'm going to get through this entire job without a repair? I'd say 0. Slim to none. Yeah, but that's fine. We're off to a good start.
Here's your treat. Come here, Buttercup. Buttercup, here's your treat. Come on, Daisy. Come on, Buttercup. Buttercup.
Buttercup.
Buttercup. Come. Come on, Daisy.
So she's pretty fast. I am just a touch low on hydraulic oil. I had forgotten while I was working on her that I think I lost some in doing repairs and stuff, and it was just a hair low, and I want to top that off. I also need to fill up the diesel tank, so we're not going to run any more today. We're going to have to wait until tomorrow. That thing looks fake. It looks like a Tonka toy. I don't know, it's just too perfect. It's funny. Anyway, I didn't run into any like really big stumps that I had to like dig each side and then pry up the back, and it just zipped right along there, no problem at all. Yeah, we're rolling right along, and I think this is going to be a pretty efficient way to do this. So tomorrow we're going to fill it up. I'm going to top off the hydraulic oil, and then we're going to kind of finish this area, and then we've got one other little surprise we're going to do before we end this video. I think you guys are going to like it, I hope. So this is actually my first time putting fuel in this machine. It came with a almost full tank. I'm actually surprised how low it is. I'm trying to think back on what I did. I mean, I tracked it all the way from the driveway back, but the tank was still pretty full after that. I don't think I drained any out of it. And it definitely isn't leaking fuel, because I would have seen it all the time sitting. I was constantly checking for leaks underneath it. I mean, I did the first tree job, and then I went and played with the stump. I did the refrigerator job, and then did this last tree job where I knocked that tree down in the middle of the field. Just doesn't seem like that would have used that much fuel. Other than that, I think it was just all the times stopping and starting it and testing it. I guess over the course of a year, maybe that added up. Can I pour this in here without making a mess? That's the question. Why didn't they put it on the side? It'd be so easy. Not too bad. Plus I have a plan where I won't be using cans like this much longer. Eventually, when I get around to it. You can actually see the level is just at the bottom there. Yeah, we'll fill it up to maybe just a touch over the halfway mark. It'll expand as it gets hot, but I think there's plenty of expansion space in that tank. Breather's all the way up there. That's all the oil I have, and it's almost to halfway. It's of course not enough, but certainly it's fine to run it like it is, so I'm just going to run it like that for today. Maybe we'll put in a little more later. Good enough, man. All right, this is going to be interesting. That's a big pine tree, and the last time I did a pine tree that size, it had this massive taproot and it kicked my butt. I could not get the stump out with my little excavator. So this will be interesting to see how long this takes. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same species of pine. Fighter. I can see why the Yanmar struggled so much. Yeah, so I spent hours literally fighting with a similar sized stump with my Yanmar. It's a 12,000 pound machine, and it was just outmatched by that stump. This thing did it in under 7 minutes, and I was cleaning the dirt off the pieces as I took them out. If I was just trying to remove the stump, I could have done it quite a bit faster than that. This is a pretty good sized stump. It looks like an oak, and I'm trying to get it in one scoop. I start pulling on it and it's too hard, so I turn heavy lift on. Wow! Look at that! One scoop. It's about 18 inches across. there's our hydraulic oil level now, so that's perfect. Just shut it down. Nice. Well, I see two problems here. My thumb got bent. See that that 2-inch 4140 bar going through there, bent. And I guess looking at it, that's not a terrible surprise. At this point, this really isn't a problem, but if I ever wanted to take it all the way off, I'd probably have to cut that bar. I'll just keep using it like it is. And here's the other problem. There's no cover plate on this end of this pin, and there needs to be. At least it's nice and greasy. So I'm gonna need to make a cover plate for that. So full disclosure, I had noticed this before, but since the pin was staying in good position, I assumed it was welded to the plate on the other side. Apparently not. All right. Well, got one bolt. All right, so two of those holes have decent threads in them, so that'll be fine. It just needs to hold that pin in position. It's not like it has that much force on it. And, oh man, I got grease on my new paint job. I guess I over-greased that thing. I'd rather have too much than too little. It was hard to tell when I was doing it how much I was putting in. Anyway, I could try to carefully measure that, but I think it's going to be easier if this side will come off. If those bolts will come out, which is a big if, then I can just bring that back to the shop and replicate it. Well, that one moved. That one moved. And that one moved. Where are you, pin? There it is. So, I don't know how tight this thing is. This is the only hammer I have, but let's see what happens. It's going to take a lot more than that. That's a piece of scrap from that thumb that I dismantled. I don't have a transfer punch big enough for those holes, but this is probably still my best bet for getting these as close as possible. Just looking and lining it up as well as I can. Bolts. Turns out this is what was on there, is 5/8 11. It's just a touch shorter because my plate is a little bit wider than the one that was on there. But I think there's enough thread engagement that that'll work. This is also 5/8 11, but the threads are jacked up down here, so having to cut it off doesn't bother me. And then the last hole I think is too stripped out, but I will bring a tap up there and just see if I can put any threads in it. If I can, I'm going to have to come back and I'll probably make a bolt out of this threaded rod. It's the same thread. I would just need to weld one of these nuts on and cut it to the right length. You get the point. I'll cut this off and we'll see you back up there at the excavator. Yeah, I don't know if you can see. I need to pick up on it. Hopefully when the bucket's hanging, I'll be able to tap it the rest of the way through. So this turned out to be pretty frustrating. It wouldn't line up and I couldn't see what I was doing as I was moving the machine, so there was a lot of back and forth. It was so close. I considered many times going to get Jennifer to help me, but I just felt like, oh, I'll try one more time and I'll get it. All right, man. I've got preview on my phone. I can't record and do preview at the same time, but at least I'm going to be able to see what the heck is going on so that I can line that up. Might have it. Whew. All right, this is the side that was already on here. Okay. This is the stripped hole, which actually had more meat in it than I thought it would, and I was able to get a good set of threads in there. Now, do these holes even line up? Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I do want the third bolt, and this thing is not flat there anymore, so I want to grind that off. So let me go get another bolt and a grinder. Silly little cover plate like that will end up taking me, how long has it been? It's more than an hour, I can tell you that. You'd think it'd be faster. So I probably should have filmed it. I used this bolt that only had threads right on the end, so I couldn't use the bolt head. So I threaded a nut onto it part way and then welded it up solid, ground that off with a belt grinder, and then chopped it to the right length and just ground the end so that it would accept a nut. And now they are the same length. Click. You can see that small pile over there. That's taller than me, by the way. The scale really gets lost out here. But I've stumped everything from there this way in, like probably 40 feet wide. I still need to do against the woods line. But we're not going to do that right now, and I'm not going to bore you with all that. You've seen me pull out plenty of stumps at this point. I'm going to do something just for fun. I am going to dig as deep as I can, right where the excavator's sitting right now. I want to stay away from like that big tree over there. I don't want to hurt its roots, but we're like 80 feet away, and see how deep I can get. We're probably going to hit rock, but I don't know. Maybe we can make a pretty good sized pit. a little faster than the Yanmar. Rock down there at this point. It's a long way down. Yeah, so that's about 9 feet. Yeah, don't do this. Seriously, this is a really bad idea. I mean, it's basically rock at this point. Let me get up out of this tomb. It's crazy though how quickly it dug that hole. I've dug before with my tractor, and then of course with the Yanmar. And the Yanmar is like 3 times as fast as the tractor. And this thing, good grief. That would take a long time even with the Yanmar. That's a big hole. Well, you can see that the grease hoses worked. I can see grease around the cylinder. It's like I over greased it a little bit. Check this out. Since I can get up on this dirt mound here, I can actually touch it just standing here. You done good, Marge. You done good. Well, there you go, guys. Marge is back in action, and you know, a couple little hiccups there with like the pin retainer on the bucket. No big deals. It's working great, and hopefully it will continue to for a while. I still can't stop staring at her. I can't believe how good it looks. It's like a giant Tonka toy now. I've got a lot more work to do on this field, and actually you'll probably be seeing more of this in the future. I'm going to show this entire process of turning this woods back into field in one video, but that'll be a long time coming. I also have another project that's going to require Marge coming up pretty soon here, so you'll be seeing more of her for sure. At this point, I'm tickled to death. She really performed well. She worked hard for several hours and no problems. Nothing that I can complain about, at least. So I guess I could say this is kind of the end of the initial Marge repair saga. I'm sure she's going to give us more repairs in the future, and possibly I'll do some improvements on her. I want to thank everybody for their support, especially my patrons. You guys are awesome. If you're interested in supporting the channel, certainly go over to Patreon. We have a real good group of folks over there. You can also go to the merch store and pick up some Farmcraft swag. I'll quit yakking now. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.